Welcome to John's Tarot. Thank you very much, and welcome to the final chapter on my story, on my description of the disease of addiction.
Oh, far out, man.
Yeah, well, it's been a long journey, and we're going to finish it up today. I have been running into an interesting thing at work, and it's been going on for about 2-3 years. And it's really, I never see it mentioned on the news, and I rarely see it mentioned anywhere else. Sometimes I see it on Reddit, and I don't hardly go out there anymore. But let me move into it. There is a drug out there which people are getting called kratom. Kratom comes from some type of plant that grows in Thailand. And the thing about kratom, and there's a lot of people using it. The thing about kratom is it uh, what it does is it plugs up in addiction and opiate use. You have receptor sites and for pain receptors, and the opioid will plug up the receptor sites so you don't feel pain. Well, kratom does the same thing, and a lot of people are using this for a lot of different kinds of pain. We'll put it that way. I have seen some things in the ICU, which and I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the stories. We had a guy. He was oh, I'm clean. I'm clean. He tells us I'm clean. When they brought him in there, non-responsive, not breathing. They used a Narcan and didn't touch him, and all this stuff. And when he finally came around, he's like, "Oh, I'm clean." And his girlfriend comes in there. Yeah, he's been clean for several years, and blah blah blah. And really, well, what he had been doing is been using about $200 worth of kratom every day. A lot of heroin addicts use kratom, and they'll use it to cycle off of. They'll use it to cycle off of the heroin, and then try to back off the kratom. The problem with this stuff is that this guy ended up with a tracheostomy and a peg because his condition had deteriorated so bad. He had been on a lot of this stuff for a long time. And this is some really dangerous stuff. And it is out there in the community, and you can buy it legally. And the FDA hasn't I don't think they've gotten around to getting rid of it. And it is some deadly stuff. And when I used to go out to the Reddit sites, and man, nobody knows drugs like heroin addicts. These guys will come out and tell you, "Oh no, you don't know squat. And this is how you do it. This is kratom. Kratom won't hurt you. Kratom's all natural." And I'm telling you, I see some bad stuff. I see some bad juju going on related to kratom. Another problem with it is we can't detect it. We run a urine drug screen and can't find it. It's not there. What I saw, let's say within the last couple of years, an interesting dynamic. I saw people; they all had the same type of thing going on, they were long-term polysubstance abusers. Oh, they're usually in their 50s, mid 50s, like that, 40s, 50s, and using marijuana, drinking, and God knows what else, methamphetamine, God knows what else they're using. And usually somebody comes in like that, let's say an alcoholic. It's not that hard to detox them. Sometimes you may just have to give them a little Ativan and let them shake and bake a little bit. But they'll come out of it. I can prevent you from having seizures. That's why they give you Ativan and Librium and stuff. Prevent you from, and it's not too bad of a detox. It has to be done professionally. It has to be done by a clinician. But it's not too bad. Heroin, it's uncomfortable detox, but it's not life threatening, and you can come out of that. They're using different things now. I can't remember the name of their sublingual medications to get you off of opioid medications. But these people are coming in polysubstance, 50 years old. It should be a relatively easy detox. They have to be intubated to protect their airway because they're so out of control. And then they're taking this is what they all had in common. They're taking huge amounts of sedatives to keep them down. Because once I have you down and I got that ET tube in you, we want to keep you comfortable. Huge amounts of sedation. and then they're not coming off of it. Usually, a typical alcoholic, if they have to be intubated, by day 3 or so, where I'm backing off the sedation and they're responsive, they're following commands, and we're taking the tube out. Not these guys. And they're not these guys at all. 3, 4 days later, they're as wild as they were on the first day, and they're taking large, and they're not coming off the ventilator. They're not becoming responsive, and and I'm like, what the heck is going on? I talked to the doc, and we started getting several of these people in a row. I said, have you noticed the pattern? I don't know if the other nurses did or not. And the pattern being uh, older, polysubstance use, polypharmacy, uh, requiring large amounts of sedation and not coming off the ventilator. And the doc says, "Yeah, John, I noticed." At least one of them did. Some of the other ones just kind of shrugged their shoulders, like, I don't know. And again, this kratom is not showing up in the drug screens because it doesn't show up. And then what happens to these guys? They end up with a trach and a PEG, percutaneous endoscopic gastronomy tube, the tube in your stomach where they pump food into. And they're going to what I call and they're going to skilled nursing facilities to spend the remainder of their life hooked up to machines. What I call like in the Matrix, you're gonna spend the rest of your life hooked up to the machine. And that is not a good deal. And that is what kratom can do to you. And you go on Reddit and you listen to them heroin addicts give you medical advice. And I've asked the heroin addicts, I said, man, why don't you go to school and come and join us on the ICU? You could be a big help. Oh man, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I'll be seeing you. So you see this drug out there, don't use it. If you have addiction problems, see a professional and they will detox you appropriately. Don't use this drug. This could have very serious consequences. We don't know we can't detect it. We don't know the strength of what you're getting. And the cases I'm seeing, it doesn't happen in every case. It does not happen in every case. But are you going to be the unlucky one? Is this going to be you? And am I going to be sending you to the matrix? I hope not. So do not use this drug, and not for recreation, not to get yourself cycle off of opiates. There's better ways to cycle off of opiates. You need to seek professional help, and do not start on this as a recreation. I know I'm wasting my breath. People are going to do this anyway, but it's been so profoundly disturbing, and it's the new face of addiction. And the face of addiction, fentanyl, kratom, and that's been a problem too. Fentanyl, they're lacing that in the cocaine. When I was a young person, a little cocaine wasn't going to hurt you, but they're lacing it in cocaine. We did have a young girl. She has a cocaine that was laced with fentanyl. She was out. She came to the next day, and we got the tube out of her and all that stuff. But very dangerous out there. It's not like it was when I was a young person. So be very careful out there. Let's move over to my ability to read tarot is a gift, an expression of divine love, and I'm here to share it with you in that same spirit. The new face of addiction is really a mask on the old face of addiction. What do we need to be aware of? With the new face of addiction, what do we need to be aware of? So I'm not running this one too long. I hope you don't mind. Well, it's to be a quick one today. You're probably bored of this topic. The new face of addiction. What do we need to be aware of? I think next time I'll just next 3 episodes I'll talk a little bit about the transformation that happened to me in recovery. Was really profound and better than any drug trip I ever taken. I think I'll talk about that in my next couple episodes. And then I think I'm going to talk about the Kabbalah. I do have a little experience with the Kabbalah. I'm not a deep scholar. As you may see from my other podcast, I'm not a deep scholar. I'm a dabbler, I guess. But I learned enough to take something away from it, to make something useful. So the new faces of addiction. What do we need to be aware of? The addiction is changing. We've got fentanyl, we've got kratom, the new faces of addiction. What do we need to be aware of? Let's just do a 5-card tarot and call it a day. The new faces of addiction. What do we need to be aware of? I usually don't do the Celtic crosses. If I do a consultation with you, I'll do a Celtic cross. If it's one of the short consultations, we're just going to do 3 cards, 3 runes. The new faces of addiction. What do we need to be aware of? And cut the deck. I'm going to do 5 cards today. The Ace of Pentacles. It usually has to do with new business opportunities, new opportunities. You see the road there. You see the road there that leads up to a mountain. That you're staying on the road to a higher place of awareness, and the rose bushes have to do with determination, the ability to stick it out, and the lilies have to do with uh, pureness. I don't know how else to say it. So, in regards to the new, we got something new here. I'm going to show you the kratom. It's not going to hurt you. That's not true. It's going to hurt you. It's going to be a problem, and it'll be offered to you as a cheap alternative. Do not buy into that obstacle. The 9 of Wands. I'm a veteran of this. I'm telling you, do not get involved with this type of thing. It's worth doing a podcast to tell you this is a dangerous world we're living in, and just to seek help. And it's worth me telling you to do that. Even though I know I'm not going to reach a whole lot of people, and the people who are involved in the addiction are not going to listen to me anyway. But it's worth me telling you. I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't at least make an attempt. And then the 4th card is the Tower card. How appropriate. I've crashed. I've had the tower event in my life. I've had to hit bottom and rebuild on a better foundation. And the new face of addiction, what do we be aware of? Sometimes that's what it takes. That's what it's going to take a person. If you have a person in your life that's going on that has addiction problems, that may be just what it takes. That they're going to have to hit bottom and rebuild a new life on a new foundation, because the old foundation wasn't helpful. And certainly that's what happened to me. The new face, what do we need to be aware of? Yeah, you talk about recovery and you think everything is going to be ice cream and orgasms. But the fact is, you're going to hit the tower. You're going to crash. Everything's going to fold out from underneath you. And that's part of the process as you move forward. The Knight of Pentacles. What helps? What is helping? The Knight of Pentacles is a process. You see the guy, he's on a horse, he's on a war horse. We're constantly discovering more. There's new things coming up. There's new synthetics. We got kratom this week. Was there bath salts a couple of years ago? It's always going to be something more. It's always going to be something new that's not going to harm you. But be very careful out there. It is so dangerous. My advice is don't get involved with it in the first place. But if you're already involved with it, go ahead and get out of it. It's a worthwhile endeavor, and it's a process to get out of it. It's addiction doesn't care. I've seen doctors get addiction. I've seen lawyers with addiction. It doesn't care. Addiction doesn't care, but recovery does. The universe is very amenable to recovery, and it will help you along the way. And that is the process the Knight of Pentacles is involved with. I could tell you a lot of stories where I just didn't know where help was going to come from, but it always came. And then the final card is Justice. Man, this is the card of karma. You will reap what you sow. I want to really warn you, drug addiction is a very negative life. It's a waste of a life. You're going to have to learn these lessons anyway, these karmic lessons. You see, he has a sword in one hand, a balance in the other. You're going to have to learn these lessons one way or the other. You might as well learn them now. If you continue on the path of addiction, there's going to be a price you have to pay. If you choose to move on into the path of recovery, you'll have to pay your price. There's some karma you created, but after that, the scales will balance out and things will improve, and that is a guarantee. Well, for this week, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Goodbye, Professor Marvel, and thanks a lot!
Well, it was my pleasure. I tell these stories, but it's all because
You are talking to a man who has laughed in the face of death, sneered at doom, and chuckled at catastrophe.
that is me. So until next week, be careful, be cool, be kind, and remember, have courage, find faith, and I'll talk to you again the next time I see you. Okay, bye-bye.